All right, so I recently saw It in theaters, Chapter 2, and I think the award for Best Horror Disturbing Film of the Year has to go to Midsummer for sure. But It, on the other hand, I felt was a little underwhelming. Um, it certainly was long enough. It was about 2 hours, 50 minutes. It was a long ass movie, but there was times where I just wasn't scared at all. I mean, I don't know if it was the fact that they were all adults and maybe that's why I was like less scared for them. Because in the first film, when they're all kids, it's kind of easier to be scared for them because kids are more vulnerable and this clown eats kids. So, I mean, I guess that was a reason to get more scared for them. But yeah, in this new one, Chapter 2, I just didn't feel the same dread when Pennywise was on screen. And the scares were not scaring me. I don't know what it was. But that being said, I think the whole cast did a great job. Bill Hader was hysterical in the movie. There's one part in the end where he tries to cry, and that was a little rough to watch. I mean, they really should have just got another actor to cry because he can't. He had a lot of trouble trying to cry at the end there. But yeah, I had no problems with the rest of the cast. I thought they all did their roles pretty well. There was a lot of levity in the film, a lot of comedy, which surprised me a little. I didn't expect there to be that much, but everything they did was pretty funny. But one thing's for sure, this film did not need to be 3 hours long. Like, not near. They could have cut an hour out of this film. You would have had the same film, and you probably would have had a better film. There's scenes in this film that have absolutely no relevance for the rest of the film. Like, there's a scene where Pennywise eats a little girl, but that little girl has no impact on the story. She has no relation to any of the main characters. So it's just kind of like there for no reason. It's really only there to give you more scenes with Pennywise because he's not in the movie that much, which is a lot like the original miniseries in the second part. Pennywise really wasn't in the second part that much, only for a couple scenes. And in this modern remake of the movie, they kind of follow that same formula. And maybe that's what they did. Maybe they went back and did reshoots to try to put him in the movie more because maybe the original cut didn't have him in the movie that much. But yeah, there's plenty of stuff I would have cut out this film. When he eats the little girl, I definitely would have cut that out. There's a whole subplot with one of the bully kids from the original movie. I think his name is Bowers or something like that. And he's a mental patient in this movie. And he breaks out and he's hunting down the other kids of the Losers Club. And it's a total waste of time because, he tries to kill like two of them, but he fails. And then Bill Hader's character kills him. So he really had no impact on the story. And it's kind of a waste of time to watch him on screen. There was kind of like no reason to see that character. A lot of things from the original they keep the same though, like Stanley committing suicide at the beginning. That's the same and stuff like that. The giant spider at the end, funny enough, they kind of keep that in. Yeah, you'll see a giant spider at some point, which I thought was amazing. But the way they defeat Pennywise at the end is kind of like a no-brainer. Like, I was kind of like wondering like why they didn't just do that from the beginning. Like, did they forget how to defeat him from the first movie? Like, all you have to do is talk down to Pennywise and you beat him. Like, that's all you have to do. And it took them a long time to figure that out in the movie. And I was kind of like just waiting for them to do that. Because around the 2 hour mark of the film, I was getting very tired of the film. And I just wanted it to end. I felt the first part was much better than the second part. Which is funny because when I watched the original miniseries, which was on TV the other day, I liked the second part of that way better than the first part. And now with these modern movies, I like the first part more than the second part. So I guess it's like a toss up with these films. I think I prefer the miniseries altogether as one big giant 4 hour movie, because I feel like this chapter 2 of It was just so overbloated. You could have cut out so much from this film. And I'm really failing to see why the film was 3 hours long or why it needed to be 3 hours long. It felt so long because they had to do little vignettes for each character and, what they're scared of, and it just dragged. It just took forever because there's like, what, 5, 6 different characters, and you had to see every single reason why they're scared of Pennywise or like what their deepest fears are. And you had to go through every single one of them. And It was just time consuming. And there's this part where they go into this little clubhouse, like underground, that wasn't in the first movie at all. I don't remember this clubhouse at all. Maybe it was the first movie, but I just don't remember at all. And they tried to make that a pivotal location for one of the characters. And all I was thinking is like, why didn't you just put that in the first movie so you can have more of a connection to it instead of just like springing it on the audience in the second movie? And now we're supposed to like care about this like clubhouse and like, I just felt like maybe the writers were getting a little lazy. Like instead of using actual stuff that happened in the first movie, they would recreate scenes from the first movie and add new stuff with the kids in the past and have that be the motivation for the adults in the present. And I really wasn't feeling that, I felt like if we were going to use the kids from the first movie, we should just like use straight up flashbacks, because that movie was plenty good enough. A lot of good stuff happened in that movie, and they do use flashbacks from the first movie. But I feel like maybe either you go all out and you use more flashbacks from the first movie, or you just don't use any at all. But either way, I thought the movie was fine. It's a long movie. I don't see myself sitting down in a theater to rewatch it. It's just too long, and there's a lot of parts that dragged for me, and a lot of parts that weren't really scaring me that much. And I definitely laughed way more than I was scared. And I don't know if that's a good thing for a horror film. I mean, it's a good thing if your film's called Scary Movie, that's a great thing. But I was definitely more scared during the first It, for sure. And the second part just didn't get me that much. And yeah, that's it for now. I mean, if I was to score it out of 10, it would still be like a 7 out of 10, 6 or 7 out of 10. Real middling, I just, nothing about this film blew me away. And it makes me interested to go back and watch the first film and see how that holds up compared to the sequel. But yeah, that's it for now. Comment below, let me know what you thought of it. Did the movie scare you at all? Because I honestly, nothing about the movie scared me. I mean, I walked out immediately when the credits started rolling. I was laughing during a lot of the scare scenes, and that's never a good sign for a horror film. But yeah, that's it for now. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.
Do you have Prince Albert in a can? You do? Well, you better let the poor guy out.